Just days to go before a possible government shutdown. Members of Congress are working to find a solution.
Wall Street reacts U.S. overall inflation on the decline, according to today's economic report. NT Daily starts now.
From the Mayborn School of Journalism at the University of North Texas, this is NT Daily News.
Good afternoon, I'm Haley Yates.
And I'm Valeria Herrera.
Big parts of the federal government are set to shut down this weekend. Meanwhile, Congress is in session and both the House and the Senate need to agree. To avoid a shutdown, Congress has to pass a funding bill in the next 3 days. The House met today, led by House Speaker Mike Johnson, who will introduce a two-step plan that focuses on extending the funds for various government agencies. The first bill extends until January funding for several elements, including military construction. The second bill funds the rest of the government throughout February. No aid for Israel or Ukraine or reducing spending cuts was proposed in the new bills.
What we need to do is avoid the government shutdown. Why? Because that would unduly harm the American people.
The Speaker's proposal is far from perfect, but the most important thing is that it refrains from making steep cuts while also extending funding for defense in the second tranche of bills in February, not the first in January.
President Biden would also need to agree. Reports say he is willing to sign on to the plan. If the shutdown happens, millions of federal employees would be furloughed essential workers and would not get paychecks until the situation is resolved, just as we approach Thanksgiving.
Shared a much better than expected inflation report today. The Dow Jones average closed up to almost 500 points. The government report showed no inflation from last month, and that brought down the annual inflation rate just over 3%. The report showed the Federal Reserve Bank's plan to hold up interest rates seemed to be working.
Texas legislators are considering a bill that would escalate the state's response to illegal immigration. This afternoon, the Texas House debated SB 4, which would make illegally entering the country a state crime. Though it's already a federal crime, this means that state law enforcement and police officers would arrest migrants and a court would have them sent back across the southern border. Experts and lawmakers have argued that this will create legal conflict with the Biden administration. The federal government typically has full authority over protecting the border. Governor Greg Abbott is determined to get the bill passed during this legislature's fourth special session that just began last week.
Tens of thousands of mostly Jewish people from around the U.S. gathered on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. today to show support for Israel and demand that more must be done to free the hostages in Gaza. CNN Laura Gari takes us there.
A sea of Israeli flags, Jewish people and supporters gathering in the nation's capital Tuesday.
We will stand on the National Mall in the most visible place in this country and say America will not stand for this.
October 7th was a crime against the Jewish state, indeed against humanity.
Israel will cease their counteroffensive when Hamas ceases to be a threat to the Jewish state.
As Israel takes its retaliatory fight against Hamas into a second month, the toll on Gaza's civilian infrastructure has been devastating. Some march attendees worry the graphic images of war could shake President Joe Biden's pro-Israel stance.
There's a lot of pressure for him to want to be moved in another direction, but so far he's supporting Israel. That's the most important thing.
Still others have a deeply personal reason for attending the march.
The Hamas terrorist organization killed my cousin Oria.
Also in the spotlight at the rally, rising anti-Semitism, especially on some college campuses.
Every university leader in this country has a responsibility to ensure that no student is intimidated or harassed on campus because of their religion.
My grandchildren look back at this moment. I want to be able to say I was there at a moment where our community and our country needed me to stand up for our country and our future.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Security concerns were so high that Washington, D.C.'s National Guard was there to protect the event. President Biden is on his way to California. Biden left the White House early this morning and Chinese President Xi Jinping are both in California for the meeting of the Asian Pacific Economic Cooperation Group. The two world leaders will meet face-to-face on Wednesday. For the first time, they have talked in 2 years. The meeting comes as tensions as high between the United States and China.
President Biden welcomed Indonesian President Joko Widodo to the White House on Monday. Widodo called for a ceasefire in Gaza. He urged the U.S. to do more to stop what he called atrocities in the region. Biden did not acknowledge Widodo's comments on Gaza. He instead touted the unprecedented levels of cooperation between the U.S. and Indonesia. The two countries have nearly a 75-year-long partnership.
Paul Pelosi testified on Monday against the man charged with attacking him last year. The husband of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi told the jury he was shocked when a man broke into his home with a hammer and zip ties last October. Pelosi said the intruder, David Pepe, asked where his wife was. Pelosi managed to call 911 before the man took his phone away. As police arrived, Pelosi testified that he tried to take the hammer away, and that's when Pepe began hitting him. Pelosi sustained a skull fracture and serious injuries to his right arm and hands. Testimony in the federal trial is expected to end Wednesday.
Have a surplus of food on hand and don't know what to do with it?
The UNT Bank is open for donations and will provide students the pantry necessities that they need to get through the school year. Stick with us.
Hey there, I'm Lance Bass, and this is CHIP. And for more than 100 years, American Humane has been protecting animals in times of crisis. And if you're like me, your pet means the world to you, and you want to keep them safe if disaster strikes. American Humane's first responders are always prepared to rescue animals in danger, but you can also help. To learn more about disaster planning and keeping your animals safe, please visit AmericanHumane.org.
Yes. Oh, hi. I suppose you're wondering what an A-list celebrity like me is doing in a place like this. You must know, I'm saving the world. Oh, hi, Beth. Yep, saving the world again. Did you know that 40% of all the food produced in the United States is thrown away? That means everything that went into that food, the pesticides, the water, the land, was all for nothing. Just look at this perfectly good food thrown in the trash. The pizza with extra Cheerios, these goldfish and Band-Aid tacos. And just look at this perfect trash burger. This pasta dog looks delicious.
You don't have to dumpster dive like Ed Begley Jr. to save the planet. Fight food waste by shopping smart and using what you buy before it gets trashed.
That's way better. Ooh, arugula.
Do your part and find out other world-saving tips at betterthaned.org.
There's a place to share gossip about the office party fun, and a place to share the story you tell everyone. There's a place to share a laugh about when things went wrong, and a place to share the video of you dancing to your song. There's a place to share spare change, lunch, and your time. But we could all be better at sharing how we're feeling inside. 76% of employees have struggled with at least one issue that affected their mental health. When you share, you're not alone.
A portion of Interstate 10 in Los Angeles, one of the busiest freeways in the country, remains closed after a weekend fire. The LA Fire Department said 2 separate pallet storage yards were involved in Saturday's fire. Several vehicles were also destroyed in the blaze. Governor Gavin Newsom said engineers are working around the clock to see how stable and safe the 1-mile section of interstate is for traffic and repairs. Authorities say there's no estimated time for reopening the road. Governor Newsom in a Monday afternoon news conference said a preliminary investigation indicates the fire was set intentionally.
Rescue efforts to continue to reach 40 workers trapped in a collapsed tunnel in northern India. According to Indian authorities, all workers are safe and are being provided with food, water, and oxygen. The 3-mile tunnel, still under construction, collapsed early morning on Sunday. Workers say there were 50 to 60 workers on site. Those near the exit managed to escape, but the other workers remain trapped.
Residents in small town Iceland were evacuating due to an imminent volcanic eruption. Residents in the small town of Gatwick were rushing to gather their belongings after Iceland declared a state of emergency due to an epidemic volcano eruption near the southwestern peninsula. Scientists closely mentioning the developing situation indicated the greatest area of upwelling is 2 miles northeast of the small town. The small town's nearly 3,000 residents immediately began racing out as soon as the news broke.
So much panic, so many earthquakes, just one person holding things while the other one was packing, and yeah, it was just a lot of panic, a lot of emotional distress, and so people didn't think really much about what they needed or just wanted to get out.
Residents are also report feeling numerous earthquakes rattling their homes, indicating a much more dangerous event is looming.
UNT Food Pantry is providing help through the holidays with free meal kits. Reporter Reagan Lopez says some aren't aware.
Do you know that UNT has a food pantry?
I did not. No.
Have you ever seen or heard of anybody using the food pantry?
No. I maybe seen a box around, but I have not paid attention to that.
Do you know where the food pantry is located?
No.
UNT's food pantry is a hidden jewel on campus, providing for hundreds of students a week. Director of Food Pantry, Tristan Wheeler, says you can't study when you're hungry.
We're all about academic success of our students, but in order to have academic success, you need to be successful in other areas of your life as well.
With a swipe of your student ID, you can get what you need. But this is the first semester that campus is closed for an entire week.
For Thanksgiving, we're giving out meal kits, so it's extra food that we're giving out so that while we're closed, students can still have a little bit of extra food since if they're not able to make it.
Along with the food, meal kits include step-by-step directions for a free, quick and easy meal.
Yeah, so you can kind of see them behind me, but we tried to find sort of Thanksgiving-ish recipes and build it off that way. So chicken is very popular in the pantry, so we have a chicken casserole one, and it has enough for most of the ingredients other than what you could find at home, like spices and oils.
The food pantry hopes to keep helping through the holidays. Reporting, this is Reagan Lopez.
Information on where to donate, volunteer, or hours of operation can be found on the food pantry's website. What's on your Thanksgiving beverage of choice? What if Texas's own Dr. Pepper was made with real peppers? That's the idea behind their newest drink, Dr. Pepper Hot Take. Announced Wednesday, the special edition drink adds onto 23 flavors of Dr. Pepper with the heat of spicy peppers, putting a unique spin on a Texas classic. The spicy Dr. Pepper is not available in stores. This means you have to be a Pepper Perks member if you want a chance to try the drink.
Thanksgiving is just around the corner and the price of food is at an all-time high. Cole Hagan has more on how you could save this turkey day.
It's the Super Bowl of all the food holidays, Thanksgiving, and this year's feast is likely going to cost you more. Although turkey prices are down, side dishes are expected to be more expensive this year compared to last year. That's according to Wells Fargo's new Thanksgiving report.
That is the holiday. We clutter it up with so much other stuff, and we spend money until we're blue in the face.
So what can you do to save? Jessica Allen has these 5 tips to trim the costs. The first step is to create a budget and shop early.
Be realistic. What amount are you comfortable spending on a meal or your portion of the meal that you're contributing to the family dinner, and then stay within it.
2, trim the menu. Cut out the sides that are not huge hits at the dinner table. Choose wisely to avoid overspending on items that only get a few bites.
So can you go for meatless appetizers? Can you go for some beautiful, colorful vegetable or fruit side dishes that save you a little bit of money at the grocery store?
Number 3, go potluck. Experts recommend you ask guests to bring the desserts or sides. That way you can split the cost. Number 4, shop smart. Consider buying items in bulk and start looking for deals now.
When you start early enough, you've got time to piece together your meal from this place and this place and this place.
And finally, ditch the pre-made and pre-cut food. Consider buying those fruits and veggies and cutting them yourself. It's a bit more work, but it will help you avoid high price markups. For Consumer Watch, I'm Cole Higgins.
We wish you a happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Coming up, a Texas high school has created new rules that will change the way the school productions can be cast.
Find out how this is affecting the theater program after the break.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
Think buying fake products is harmless? Think again. Think fake cosmetics are tested and safe? Think again. Think that medicine you can buy off social media is high quality? Think again. Counterfeits are made in unsafe conditions, potentially using hazardous and even lethal ingredients that could harm you and others. Each year, billions of dollars worth of counterfeit products are sold in the U.S. I smell big crime. Think about it. If you don't know where the products came from, how could you know where the money goes? You're smart. Buy smart. Go for real.
Hey there, I'm Lance Bass, and this is Chip. And if you're like me, your pets mean the world to you. And if disaster strikes, saving them is a priority. Learn how to keep your best friends safe at AmericanHumane.org.
First, they said cigarettes were safe. Now, they say they didn't market e-cigarettes to teens. Fact. More than 1 in 4 high school students are vaping. Same lies, different day. Tell Big Vape to quit lying.
A suspect is in custody after a deadly shooting on the campus of Prairie View A&M University in Waller County. Police say officers responded to reports of shots fired Monday morning. When they arrived, they stopped a vehicle matching the description of the one involved in the shooting, arresting the driver. They found the university employee suffering from gunshot wounds. That man later died. Reports indicate that the suspected shooter is a former employee, and the two people involved in the incident previously worked together. No one else was hurt. This is the second shooting in the past 2 weeks on school property.
A new Texas high school rule is preventing students playing roles of the opposite gender in theatrical plays. Erin Pellet has a story.
Clearly, they don't know the first thing about theater if this is an issue, because even back when Shakespeare was alive and doing plays, men would play the women roles.
Sophomores Natalie Ball and Ellis Winecuff say they are 2 of about 20 students to lose their roles.
There hasn't been any issues until now.
They say the Sherman High School principal told them for this show they can only play characters with genders matching their birth gender. Ellis and Natalie were both cast as males.
And everybody's just in the hallway sobbing, and somebody's like, "We're all cut from the show." And I just sort of collapsed to the floor.
I was extremely angry.
These 2 students were not seeking out male roles. They say before auditions, they consented to playing characters of the opposite gender on paper. They were then cast in male roles, adding there were not enough boys to fill all of the male characters. Ball says she's done this before, playing a male chef in a Sherman Middle School production.
It's never been an issue.
In a statement, the district says the show is being postponed until at least mid-January to review inappropriate content. The 80-year-old production has been performed by Sherman High School before.
I think maybe 2018.
This year, the students are not hopeful the show will hit the stage.
The school board, the school district has complete control over our theater program. Our hands are tied.
We'll continue to follow to see how and if Oklahoma plays out.
The school board called for a special meeting this Friday with lawyers present to continue the discussion.
Asian longhorn ticks are spreading across the U.S. Researchers say the invasive species arrived in the Western Hemisphere in 2017, but are now creating havoc after 3 cows in Ohio died from tens of thousands of bites. In addition to Ohio, the invasive species have been spotted all across the U.S. from Arkansas to New York. Researchers say the ticks can reproduce quickly, hide in tall grass, and survive in harsh conditions. It's still unclear whether they can pass diseases to humans, but luckily they appear to be less attracted to human skin.
Pop singer Pink is giving away books at her concerts. In Miami and Sunrise, Florida, Pink plans to give away banned books to fans. Nearly 2,000 books will be handed out. Some include The Family Book by Todd Parr and The Hill We Climb by Amanda Gorman. The star collabed with PEN's America's Index of Banned Books for the project. Florida had the highest number of book ban cases in the last school year of 1,400 books in 33 school districts, the most in the nation.
Fans of The Hunger Games get another dose of action with the new prequel, The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. David Daniel has an inside look.
Hunger Games 4.
The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is a prequel focused on the villainous President Snow as a young man. The filmmakers knew it would be a challenge getting audiences to root for the bad guy.
Everybody thinks of him as the villain, the antagonist already from the other stories. But to sort of create a character that we empathize with and that we root for and that we're behind in the beginning, while being able to sort of maintain the elements of his character that make his turn into darkness at the end believable.
It was also no easy feat casting Tom Blythe as the lead character, played by Donald Sutherland in the previous films.
Plus, you don't want somebody who's impersonating Donald Sutherland, but you want somebody who actually seems like he might grow up to be Donald Sutherland. So there are obviously a whole bunch of people who their looks just don't work for the role because they could never grow up to be him.
Fans of the beloved franchise can expect a slew of nods to the earlier installments.
You see sort of the origin of the games and how the games change and progress, the beginnings of the sort of technology, the origins of things like the Hanging Tree song and seeing the Hanging Tree, and just like all the nods to things that are familiar to Hunger Games fans.
It's the things we love most that destroy us.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
I can't wait to see how President Snow's story unfolds this Friday.
Shine up your bun pants and heat up your oven because Wednesday is National Bun Cake Day. This descendant day is held every year on November 15th. This dessert gets its distinctive form from the shape of the bun pan cookware company Nordic Ware, popularized the bun mold design in the 1950s and 60s, and ever since then, the cake has continued to gain popularity with dessert lovers. But if you don't want to get your hands dirty in the kitchen, stop by a Nothing Bun Cakes and grab one of those plentiful desserts.
Hoop season is underway on campus. Men's team defending their NIT National Championship.
And the Mean Greens women team opened their season at home. NT Daily continues.
Hey there, I'm Lance Bass, and this is CHIP. For more than 100 years, American Humane has been on the front lines protecting animals in times of crisis. From Pearl Harbor to 9/11, the California wildfires, and the coronavirus pandemic, American Humane Rescue has provided life-saving assistance for animals in virtually every major national disaster. If you're anything like me, your pets mean the world to you. And if disaster strikes, you want to keep them safe. To prepare for an oncoming disaster, ensure your pet has secure and up-to-date identification. And if you must evacuate, remember to take your disaster preparedness kit with you. To learn more about disaster planning and how to keep your best friends safe, please visit AmericanHumane.org.
Oh, hi. I suppose you're wondering what an A-list celebrity like me is doing in a place like this. You must know, I'm saving the world. Oh, hi, Beth. Yep, saving the world again. Did you know that 40% of all the food produced in the United States is thrown away? That means everything that went into that food, the pesticides, the water, the land, was all for nothing. Just look at this perfectly good food thrown in the trash. The pizza with extra Cheerios, with these goldfish and Band-Aid tacos. And just look at this perfect trash burger. This pasta dog looks delicious.
You don't have to dumpster dive like Ed Begley Jr. to save the planet. Fight food waste by shopping smart and using what you buy before it gets trashed.
That's way better. Ooh, arugula.
Do your part and find out other world-saving tips at betterthaned.org.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
There's a place to share gossip about the office party fun, and a place to share the story you tell everyone. There's a place to share a laugh about when things went wrong, and a place to share the video of you dancing to your song. There's a place to share spare change, lunch, and your time. But we could all be better at sharing how we're feeling inside. 76% of employees have struggled with at least one issue that affected their mental health. When you share, you're not alone.
A memorial was held on Monday for the 3 University of Virginia students who lost their lives in a shooting last year. The lives of Devin Chandler, Lavelle Davis Jr., and Deshaun Perry were honored with multiple informal acts of remembrance and even organized by the university. Flowers have been placed at several memorial sites, including the Beta Bridge, which reads, "Forever in our hearts." This is the longest standing message in the history of the bridge.
Haley, have you gone to a game yet?
I have not been out there to show my support for the Mean Green, but I hear nothing but good things.
I know, I've heard it's got a great season, but I think Blake has a little bit more for us.
Thanks, you two. The UNT men's team opened their season at home, beating Omaha 75-64. The UNT women's basketball team won their second straight game at home Thursday night, defeating the Grambling State Lady Bears by a final score of 83-60. Senior Jacqueline Moore hit a milestone in the game, reaching over 1,000 career points. Moore finished the night with 20 total points, leading the Mean Green to their second victory under their new head coach, Tyrese Burton. The Mean Green are back in action Thursday night against Stephen F. Austin. In news from the NBA, the Sacramento Kings beat the Cleveland Cavaliers yesterday on November 13th, scored 132 to 120. The game took place at Sacramento's home Golden One Stadium in the heart of the California capital. As the third quarter of the game is what made the most difference, the Cavaliers allowed the Kings to take 42 points in that one quarter. Up until then, that score remained steady as Sacramento maintained an 8-point lead by halftime. The Kings landed out 16 out of 22 shots, or 72% in shot accuracy. While the 3 key players were king in landing said shots, it was chiefly Kevin Huerter who made the most with 14 shots that exceptional third quarter. In comparison that quarter, no one from the Cleveland Cavaliers scored above 7 points, with Donovan Mitchell and Clarice Levert making 7 each. Despite a good team effort from the Cavaliers, who performed strongest in the second quarter, Sacramento's 42-point lead on quarter 3 proved too pivotal. Former professional hockey player Adam Johnson of the NHL had died on October the 28th following an incident on an ice hockey rink. A Minnesota native, Adam Johnson had long celebrated a career in the National Hockey League, known for his career at the center position in the team of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Johnson was around internationally as well, having played in Europe with teams such as the Malmo Redhawks and Nottingham Panthers. The incident of this death involved with a collision with hockey player Matt Petgrave, in which the former's throat was fatally wounded by a stray shoe hockey blade. The Panthers team proclaimed it, quote, a freak accident. The English Ice Hockey Association announced the mandatory assignment of neck guards, effective this December 2023. Back to the news. This has been Blake Brown.
Call it Comeback Kid, or Kid Store rather.
Just a few years after Toys R Us went out of business in 2018, it's now coming to America's biggest mall, just in time for the holidays. The iconic toy retail location at the Mall of America in Bloomingdale, Minnesota will open before Thanksgiving. Parent company WHP Global says 11,000 square foot store is being launched in partnership with Go Retail Group.
It's the second standalone Toys R Us store open after WHP Global marked the toy retailer's comeback by opening its 20,000 square foot flagship location in New Jersey. WHP has also opened more than 452 mini Toys R Us shops across all Macy's stores nationwide.
Chuck E. Cheese is retiring its iconic antibiotic brand at all locations except for one.
The brand, known for known as Munchies, features Chucky and his friends who perform songs and make jokes to the guests. The company has decided to modernize the look and feel by adding interactive dance floors, video walls, and even trampoline zones. The last remaining brand will be performing every day at the Chuck E. Cheese location in Northridge, California.
That's all for today. I'm Valeria Herrera.
And I'm Haley Yates. NT Daily will be back next week.